Yeah, Asha, I think you can start now. You're on
Okay.
live.
Okay. Do you want to start recording the meeting also?
No, not required.
Not required.
Not
Okay.
required.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Raman Awards Bootcamp. I understand that there may be parents, teachers, and school coordinators watching, so I extend a warm welcome to all of you. And hey, guys, my name is Asha, and I'm a facilitator here at ThinkTac. And today we will be discussing about the Raman Awards. So the main aim of this bootcamp is to give you guys an idea about what kinds of submissions we will be expecting you guys to make for the Raman Awards, and to guide you guys on what a submission looks like. So the registration for the Raman Awards begin only in July, and the finals take place only in February of the next year. So don't worry, you have a lot of time to spend on the competition itself. Today, just try to focus on seeing what you can gain from this bootcamp. And don't worry, this session is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube over the next few days. So if you miss something, you can just watch the recording and take it from there. Some people have asked us when this type of session will happen again. Unfortunately, this isn't a recurring workshop. What I mean is that this bootcamp will not be happening again. But like I said, this is being recorded, so don't worry. You can just watch the YouTube recording if you've missed something. Finally, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Sorry, Lakshmi, can you go back to the first slide? Yeah. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. My colleagues will inform me about it, and we'll do our best to like answer your questions. Okay, next slide, Lakshmi. So the Raman Awards began in 2018 with the aim of creating interest among students, you guys, in the field of science. In this competition, we look for creativity and scientific aptitude in whichever students participate. The Raman Awards are a scientific thinking competition. What this means is that we aren't just looking for a model that works or a model that you showcase on Science Day at school. We want to see that you have explored your activity and you're able to explain the observations you make while exploring. I'll explain what this sentence means as the presentation continues, but for now, just keep this, it's a good thing to keep this in your mind. Yeah, next slide, Lakshmi. So any and all information that you will be searching for is available on this website, www.ramanaward.org. Please note, there is no S in this website. It isn't ramanawards.org. It is ramanaward.org. Okay. Next slide, Lakshmi. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking you guys through an example of an activity that can be submitted to the awards. And then I'll tell you what our expectations from you guys for this competitions are. So the activity we will be making today is called the water spray model. Next slide, Lakshmi. So please check if you guys have all of these materials. For this activity, you will need a straw, you will need tape, you will need scissors, foam piece, and a container of water. Even if you don't have foam piece and you have something like an eraser or thick cardboard, that will also do. And any kind of tape, not specifically insulation tape, any tape can be used, but make sure you have tape, a foam piece and eraser, and a straw and scissors for this activity, and a small cup of water. So what we're going to do now is we're going to watch this video twice. And then after we finish watching this video, I will make this activity with you guys. All right. Okay, Lakshmi, you can play. Okay, so we've seen the video once. We'll watch it again, and then I'll make the activity with you guys right now. All right. So yeah, I'm spotlighted for everyone, right? Okay, so let's sit and make the activity together now. Like I said, for this you'll need a straw, a foam piece, a razor or cardboard piece, um, tape, scissors, and just a small container of water. So the first thing that you need to do is fold your straw in half and cut it. Fold your straw in half and then cut it. So you'll get two halves of a straw. Fold your straw in half and cut it. You'll get two halves of your straw. Then cut a piece of tape and make sure that you stick your straw in such a way that the opening of the straw and the foam piece are all in one line. The opening of the straw and the foam piece should all be in one line. Like so. The opening of the straw and my foam piece and one side of my foam piece are all in one line. Then what you need to do, take your second half of the straw and attach it in such a way that it blocks half of the first straw that you've put. So can you guys see? The straw that I'm going to attach now, the second straw, is going to block half of the first straw that I've put.
Siddesh, I hope you have placed the straw in line with the foam. Both are at the same level, right? Okay. If you all can turn on your videos, then we can make out how you are actually doing. Arav, you're not doing? Just try to answer. Show some action. We can make out. Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Nilansh,
Right.
Namdev.
So see, I've blocked half of my first straw with my second straw.
Wow, nice. So many of them turned on their videos.
And then finally, once this is ready, put the unblocked straw into the container of water. This second straw that you've attached to your foam piece, that's your unblocked straw. Put that into the container of water and blow. You guys saw that? Are you all able to see water spray from your models? If water is spraying from your models, just put a thumbs up icon. You have these reactions on Zoom, right? So if it's working, just put a thumbs up icon, or you can even let us know in the chat that it's working for you.
Show now, Ashtray. Show once again.
So place your unblocked straw into the container of water and blow. Is it working for you guys? I'm just looking at the chat, so you guys can let me know if it's working or no.
Nothing in the chat. Only Drupad is asking for the science behind this. I thought
Achha,
Drupad
we'll
will be
get.
telling me. Waiting room should be checked. Vishnu was waiting there.
I'll just repeat all of the instructions again in case you're a little confused. Take your straw, fold it in half, and cut it. So you'll get two halves of one straw. Take one half and attach it to your foam piece in such a way that its opening and one side of the foam piece are all in a straight line. Then take the second half of your of the straw that you had cut, the second half that's left, and block half of the first straw that you've attached. Block the opening, block half of the opening of the first straw that you've attached with the second straw. It should look something like this. I hope you guys are able to see my camera. It should look something like this.
Yes, visible. Some of them are saying it's working. I'm
Okay.
just trying. Can you show it on the screen? Can you try it out? You're all on spot. I mean, I am able to see you all. Can you all keep it in front of your camera and try to show the spray? Siddesh, don't blow on the computer. Keep it to the side and do it. Wow, Shashwat, very nice. I saw that. Good. Somebody has to check this waiting room. Sanjay, I'm not able to see. Show it again. Is it coming? I'm not able to see. Okay, good. Arav, is it working for you?
Adit,
Oh,
Aditya or
super.
someone said it wasn't working for them, but I don't know who Aditya is.
Nilansh working? Okay, good. Nice.
Okay, so now that we've made this model, in the chat box, can you guys just give me your theories, give me your ideas of why you think this model works the way that it does? I'll just open the chat box. Just put what do you think is this scientific phenomena behind, or the scientific concept behind why this model works the way that it does? Okay, Shaswat says air pressure. Take a guess. Why do you guys think this model works the way that it does? Changing air pressure, okay. When we blow through the pipe, the air pressure increases. The air pressure increases and hence pulling the water up. Interesting. Makes a vacuum. Okay. All right. So most of you guys are saying air pressure. All right. So let's take a look at the reason why this activity works the way that it does. Lakshmi, can you share the PPT? So how many of you guys have heard of this thing called Bernoulli's principle? So the Bernoulli's principle is the sort of scientific principle that governs the working of this model. And what does this principle say? Why does the model work the way that it works? Let's sort of try to understand that. So we know that any fluid, whether it's a liquid or a gas, a fluid is something that flows. So it can be a liquid or a gas. It always moves from a place of high pressure to low pressure. So the fact that water is coming up our second straw means that low pressure is present at top and high pressure is present at the bottom, correct? Because fluids always move from a place of high pressure to low pressure. So the fact that it's rising up the straw means on top there's low pressure. How is this low pressure coming? So Bernoulli's principle states that an increase in the speed of a fluid leads to the decrease in pressure. Now, what does this sort of mean? So when we were sort of blowing air into our first what do you say straw, uh, when it had to come out of this first straw, unfortunately, the first straw was blocked by half, right? So the area that it has to like exit the straw is blocked by half, but the same air has to come out in the same area. So, like the way that, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, energy has to be conserved. So the way that energy is conserved in this situation is that the speed of the air coming out of this straw increases. And because the speed increases, the pressure decreases. One analogy that you can think of is, let's say you tear a piece of paper and keep it on a table and then you start blowing. What happens to the pieces of paper? They get scattered. So similarly, when we're blowing through our straw, the first straw, it has to come out through a smaller area. So its speed increases. And Bernoulli's principle states that whenever there is an increase in the speed of a fluid, there's a decrease in its pressure. So a low pressure is created right above the unblocked straw, the second straw that we had attached. Now that there's a low pressure, above the unblocked straw, water is able to rise, and we see the water spray model work the way that it does. All right, so I'll just repeat this once more. The reason this activity works the way that it does is because of Bernoulli's principle. So the principle states that an increase in the speed of a fluid leads to a decrease in its pressure. Now, why does this particular thing happen? Why, if the speed increases, then the pressure must decrease? That is because conservation of energy needs to be true at all times. Energy cannot be created or destroyed at any point. It can only be converted from one form to another. So the way that energy is conserved in this situation is that when a fluid has to pass through like a smaller volume, its speed increases and its pressure decreases. So in this way, our model is working based on Bernoulli's principle. All right, so let's move on. Lakshmi, can you just go to the next slide?
Yeah, someone is saying it's similar to the hand sanitizer.
Hand
Spray.
sanitizer.
This works in the sanitizers. They have the spray, right?
Ah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah, yeah,
spray,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
sanitizer sprays. Okay.
So now that you guys have sort of made this model, after this session ends, what I want you to do is I want you to take a picture of this, you blowing through this model and send it to your school coordinator. So we've told what your school coordinators, what they're supposed to do with these pictures. But after this session ends, just make sure you take a picture and send it to your school coordinator. So what we're going, so we've made this model now, right? This is an example of a activity that can be submitted for the Raman Awards competition. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through what our expectations of, Raman Awards competition submissions are going to be and what the process is going to be like. All right. Next slide, Lakshmi. So the first expectation we have for your submissions is that you guys should use simple materials. The simpler the material, the better. We do not want you guys to like spend too much, buy like an electronic digital sensor and then use that to make a model, and that activity sort of becomes your submission for the Raman Awards. Instead, if you use simpler materials, like for example in this activity we just use straw, tape, and a foam piece and scissors. That's all. Like simpler the material, the better that your submission will look to us. Then the second point I want you guys to keep in mind is that this is not an application-based competition. What do I mean by that? So for example, some people, they have sort of, they've made a submission where they've used a pulley and they've created a mechanism where it lifts water from a well, and then they say, this helps solve the problem of lifting water from an underground source. But we're not really looking for an application-based, submission. Instead, if you're focused on the science concept behind your activity and you're able to show that you clearly understand the science behind your activity and why it works, that's what we're looking for. So keep this other point in mind. And finally, once again, I'm just going to stress that we don't want you to just submit a working model like, oh, this model works. I'm going to put this as a submission for the Raman Awards competition. That's not exactly what we want. Instead, we want you guys to explore your activity and play with it. So what do I mean by that? So here's a hint. You can think along these lines. If I change one aspect of my activity, how does it affect the working of my activity? So I'll just sort of explain to you guys what we mean by, exploring your activity. Next slide, Lakshmi. The main way that you guys can explore your activity is make as many different variations of your activity as possible and ask the question, if I change this one aspect of my model, how does it affect the working of my model? And here's an interesting framework that you can use while you're thinking of your submissions for the Raman Awards. You can ask two questions. What can I change in my model? What can I measure in my model? So keep this thing in mind when you're thinking of exploring your activity. What can I change in my model? What can I measure in my model? Next slide, Lakshmi. So I've taken the water spray that we have made just now as an example. And I've made a list here of all the things that I can change in my, in my water spray activity. I can change the size of the straw that I use. I can use a fatter straw. I can use a thinner straw. I can use a normal straw. I can change the material of the straw that I use. I can use a plastic straw, a paper straw, a steel straw. I can change the angle between the straws. I can make the angle between the, so right now we've like cut like either a square or a rectangular piece of foam, right? But I can like cut it into a triangle that has an angle of 45 degrees and another triangle with an angle of 135 degrees. And that way I can sort of make my model by changing the angle between the straws. That's another thing I can change. And And a couple of other things I can change are, either the length of the first straw that I've attached. I can make the straw which I blow into longer, or I can make the straw which I put into the water, the second straw that we attach, the unblocked straw, I can make that longer. So here I have made a list of things in my activity that I can change. Then, Lakshmi, can you move to the next slide? Then I made a list of all the things that I can measure in my activity. What can I measure? Can I check if, does water come out or no? Like, for example, if I, increase the length of the second straw of the unblocked straw, does water still spray? That's one measurement I can take. Yes and no will be my two values for that measurement. I can also measure how much water comes out. So this I wanted to show you guys. Lakshmi, can you just spotlight me for a few minutes and stop the presentation? I'll just show them. All right, I hope you guys are able to see me. Here I have a 6 ml syringe, all right? And I filled it with water. And I've already made 3 variations of my water spray model. I have used a fat straw to make my model. It's bigger than the straw that we used just now. I used a normal size straw. This is similar to the straw that we used right now. And I used a fruity straw, a thin straw. This is smaller than the one that we've used right now. So I have a syringe over here and it's got 6 ml capacity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fat straw into this and blow. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong side. Oh, I made the mistake this time. Amazing. Always remember you have to put your unblocked straw into the water container, not the first straw. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. So I made one blow, all right? Then, since there are markings over here, I will measure how much water got sprayed in one blow. Then I will refill this syringe. Back to 6 ml. Whoops, there's more. And I will take my normal size straw and I will again blow and I'll again see how much, water came out. Then I'll take my fruity straw and again put, the model and again blow and check how much water. So in this way, I can sort of measure. What can I measure? I can measure how much water is released in different types of models. Lakshmi, can you just show the PPT and move to the next slide also? So here I've made an observation table of, the size of the straw that I've used and how much water came out. So what I can see is sort of like my expectation was that, the fat straw will release the most water and the fruity straw will release the least water. But all of these numbers are similar to each other. So the conclusion so this is my observation set. First, what did I do? I made a list of things that I can change about my activity. Then I made a list of things I can measure in my activity. Then I changed one thing. The one thing that I changed was the size of the straw that I used. And I made observations related to that. I checked for how much water gets released when I blow into straws of different sizes. And I made an observation table. And in this observation table, I can see that the expectation that I had, the prediction that I made, that a fat straw will release more water and a thin straw will release less water is actually not true. In fact, the numbers are quite, close to each other. So what scientific conclusion can I come based on the observations I've made? I can make the conclusion that the size of the straw that I use or the diameter of the straw that I use has no bearing on the amount of water that's released when I, use this activity. So in this way, whatever activity you guys choose to submit for the Raman Awards competition, this is sort of what we mean when we say we want you to explore your activity. The main point of the activity is not sort of like, does this work? Does this not work? Lakshmi, can you just like spotlight me once again? I'll just show them another variation of this. So here I have an acute angled water spray model. Okay, this is around 45 degrees. And over here I have an obtuse angled water spray model. So I'm going to, which is the, yeah, this is the unblocked straw. So I'm going to put the unblocked straw in the acute angled water spray model and blow into this container. What do I see? Do I see any water coming out? Absolutely none. Absolutely no water. Now let's see what happens when I take my obtuse angled water spray model and put it into the container. Instead of water coming out, air bubbles are going into my container. So how do I explain this? Well, in the acute angled water spray model, the way that the angle is too small for my second straw to block the first straw. So the only thing that's happening is all the air that I'm blowing in is just directly coming out of my first straw. This second straw is hardly blocking the first straw. So Bernoulli's principle is not, the pressure is not, the pressure difference is not enough for water to rise up the second straw. And in this case, what's happening? I'm seeing air bubbles go into the container instead of any water coming out of my model. So basically, this is acting as a single straw. This angle is causing, it's covering up this hole so much that this is acting as a single straw. So this is what we mean when we say we want you guys to explore your activity. Change one aspect of your activity, make multiple variations of that change that you've made, and make observations, after you've made your changes, and form scientific conclusions based on those observations. This is what we mean by exploring your activity. Lakshmi, can you share the PPT? So I hope you guys kind of got the idea that the expectation we have is not just, my model works. Now look at how well my model works. That's not the point of the submission for this competition. The point is you need to make as many variations as possible. You need to be able to explore and explain scientifically whatever activity that you choose to submit for your competition. This is why this competition is a scientific thinking competition. It's not a application based competition. Next slide, Lakshmi. And finally, we want you guys to also have fun in whatever activity you guys are going to submit for the competition. In fact, the more fun that your activity is, the better it will be considered as a submission. All right. So now I've sort of, explained all of our expectations of what our submissions are for the Raman Awards. Just to reiterate them again, make sure that whatever activity you choose to submit for the competition is made of simple materials. The simpler the materials, the better. Remember this, that you need to be able, you're trying to explore a scientific concept. You're not trying to make an application based activity. You're not trying to solve a world problem right now. You're trying to explore a scientific concept. Third thing, make sure you explore your activity and you are able to explain the observations that you make when you explore your activity. And finally, have fun when you're making your model. So let's move on. Lakshmi, can you go to the next slide? So now that I've finished sort of taking you guys through what the expectations of this competition are, I'm just going to tell you about the flow of the competition, the timeline of the Raman Awards competition, all right? So the registration for Raman Awards begins on July 1st. So there's still a lot of time. It's only May. In fact, it's just the middle of May. The registrations will begin on July 1st. And you can register on the Raman Award website, the www.ramanaward.org that I had shown you guys earlier. That's the website on which you can register. Right now, the registration link is not available because the registrations will open July 1st. Registrations will close July 31st. All right. Once you register, you will be sent to a different portal where all of the information related to your submissions will be available. So what is all of this information? Let's find out. So there's two ways to participate in the Raman Awards. One, either you're nominated by your school, or two, you register on your own. So whether you register on your own or you are nominated by your school for the competition, everyone has to go through stage 0. What is stage 0? Well, once you're like registered and you're taken to that portal, over there in that portal, in that website, there will be a questionnaire that you guys will have to answer. You don't have to prepare anything for that questionnaire. That questionnaire is simply a recurring test. Basically, in that questionnaire, that questionnaire will check if you have actually understood what the expectations of the competition are, and if you've understood how to submit your submissions. So it's just going to be like, until you get all the answers right, stage 0 questionnaire will keep making you solve that questionnaire. So once you get all of the questions right, then the questionnaire will sort of be like, okay, you have understood what the expectations of the Raman Award submissions are and how to submit them, and then it'll let you move on further. So everyone, whether you have been nominated by your school or you have registered on your own, everyone will have to go through stage 0. Stage 0 is simply a set of questions that will be available on the portal that you will be sent to after you're registered for the competition. So what happens when you pass stage 0? So when you pass through stage 0, here's where there's a small split. If you are a student who has been nominated by your school, then you will directly participate in stage 2. So you will skip over stage 1. But if you are a student that is sort of registered on your own, you will have to go through stage 1. So this small piece of information that I'm going to give next is for any of the schools that are watching, or any school coordinator that's watching. Schools can nominate 3 students from each category. The categories are juniors, intermediate, and senior. Juniors is 3rd and 4th standard. Intermediate is 5th, 6th, 7th, and seniors are 8th, 9th, 10th. So each school can nominate 3 students from each category. And we have a requirement that if you are a co-ed school, we require that at least one of the 3 students has to be a female student. That is our requirement. So just to repeat, schools can nominate 3 students from each category, and 1 out of the 3 students must be a female student for co-ed schools. If you have been nominated by your school, you will directly participate in stage 2. If you are registering on your own, then you will have to go through stage 1. So let's see what stage 1 is about. So in stage 1, there will be a pre-decided activity that you will have to make. We will decide what that activity is going to be, and you will have to make that activity. So what are the things you need to submit for stage 1? You'll have to submit a picture of the activity. You'll have to submit a video of the activity, and there will also be an observation quiz available on that portal. So you'll have to complete that observation quiz. You'll have to solve it, and you'll have to submit that. So there are 3 things that you'll have to submit for stage 1. You'll have to submit a picture of the activity. You'll have to submit a video of the activity and the observation quiz related to it. And we will decide what the activity is going to be for stage 1, and we will post all of this information on that portal, what the activity is going to be and the observation quiz related to it. So let's say that you finish stage one, you're able to qualify from stage one, then everybody will begin stage two. So one thing to remember about stage one is that it begins immediately after registrations close. So for stage one, it begins August 1st and ends September 15th. So you have 1.5 months to sort of complete stage one. So you finish registering or your nomination happens on the deadline is 31st July. Then August 1st, if you've registered on your own, stage one, all of that information will be available on that portal that you'll be sent to. So stage one happens between August 1st and September 15, 1.5 months. Once you qualify stage one, then from October 1st to November 15th, you'll be given time to do stage two. So what is stage two? And stage two is where the nominated students will participate, as well as those who have qualified stage one. So what happens in stage two? For stage two, you can make whatever innovation or activity you would like to make. You are allowed to make a maximum of 2 activities, and each submission will be assessed separately. So for stage two, you will be required to submit 2 pictures of the same model. This means 4 pictures of the 2 different models that you're submitting, if you're submitting 2 of them. Then you'll have to submit a video of the activity, or if you're submitting 2 activities, then you'll have to give 2 videos. And there will be a template available on that portal. In the same way that there was an observation quiz available on the portal, in the same way that the stage 0 questionnaire was available on the portal, there will be a template available on the portal, which you will have to download and fill. All of this observations that I had shown you, how I made my observation table, you have to make a similar table and post it in that template. So for stage two, just to like go through it again, I'll just summarize it again. Stage two happens between October 1st and November 15th. Nominated students will be directly participating in stage two. If you're registered on your own and you've qualified from stage one, you'll participate in stage two. For stage two, you can make any activity or any innovation that you want to make. And per innovation that you make, you'll have to submit 2 pictures of the same activity, a video of that activity, and you'll have to download that template and fill whatever information that template asks you to fill. So these are 3 things that you'll have to submit for stage 2. Then let's say that you qualify stage 2 also. Then you'll come to stage 3, which is the final round. So the finals are basically, the finals will be happening on the 4th of February next year, 4th February 2024. They will be happening here in Bangalore at the Raman Research Institute. So I'm going to repeat that again. Stage 3 is the finals. The finals are happening on February 4th, and it will be happening at the Raman Research Institute in Bangalore. So what happens during the finals? During the finals, we will be giving you a problem statement related to a specific activity that you will have to make and solve on the spot. And we will also provide you with the materials to make that activity. And then once you're done, you'll have to explain everything to the judges. All the finalists are expected to create their own innovations on the spot. And the best one, judged by the expert panel, will be declared the winner in each category. So basically, you'll have to come to Bangalore. We will give you a particular activity to do on the spot, and we'll give you the materials also related to that activity. And we'll also give you a problem statement, a question, a scientific question related to that activity. And you'll have to make the activity on the spot with the materials. You'll have to make all of your variations related to that activity. And those variations will be dependent on what's the question that has been given to you, what the problem statement is going to be. And then finally, once time's up, the judges will come around and you'll have to explain to them everything that you have done. You'll have to explain what your observations are, what your conclusions are, and they will decide who the winner is going to be. So this is sort of the flow of the Raman Awards competition. Just in case all of this was too much of information and you are sort of, little dazed or whatever, don't worry. This, like I said in the beginning, this whole session is being recorded. This recording will be available on YouTube, and any other information related to this will also be available on the website. Yeah, I was just going to ask you to go to the next slide. Yeah, this is the slide, Lakshmi. So this is the website. I'm showing it to you guys again, www.ramanaward.org. All right. So this sort of brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for attending the bootcamp. I hope you've learned something. All the best for the competition, and I hope to see you guys here in Bangalore, hopefully next February. If you don't have any questions, the session has ended, so you are more than free to leave now if you want to leave. But if you have any questions and you'd like to ask, you can stay back and we'll try to answer your questions. So if you want to leave now, you can leave. Make sure that after you leave, you take a picture and send it to your school coordinator. They know what to do with that picture. Registrations begin July 1st. All the best for the competition, and take care. It was wonderful having you guys.
Ashray, Khushi is asking, could you please repeat?
Yes.
Would we also have to make the activity in stage 0?
No, there's no activity to be made for stage 0. Stage 0 is just a set of questions that you'll have to solve. Those questions only test, have you understood what the expectations of the Raman Awards competition are? And they also test whether you know how to submit your submissions. That's all that the questionnaire tests. So there's nothing you have to prepare for stage 0. Absolutely nothing.
Anybody else has questions? Please raise your hand, then I'll unmute you. Shashwat, do you have anything?
If you guys don't have any questions, y'all can leave. I mean, like, there's no need to stay. So, yeah, all the best for everything. Only if you have
Harispita,
questions, stay back. Otherwise, it's fine. Lakshmi, Shriya, she has a question, I think.
Shriya, is it?
She raised
Shriyashi.
her. She raised her hand. I thought she had a question, but the hand is gone down now, so I don't know.
Kirti has raised her hand. Kirti, can you turn on your video?
My video has problem, but I wanted to ask if you have to
Yeah.
make a video for water spray model.
No. Right now, it's just a picture. Sorry, that you have to send to your school coordinator. Just take a picture of your of you blowing through the water spray and send it to your school coordinator. That's all.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, no video. Shriyashi, do you have a question? You had raised your hand earlier.
Yes, sir. Means only we have to take the photo of the spray and send it to coordinator, or with blowing the spray water coming out with us, or
So
only of the
if you're able to if the picture is able to capture the water coming out of the spray, nothing like it. But if it's just blowing, it's fine. That's not an issue. But if the picture captures the water, that's amazing. Generally, it'll be too faint to come in pictures, but if it can capture, nothing like it. Mithun Reddy.
So I would like to ask, how do we send to the school
Sorry.
How do we send to the school model the picture for activity?
On WhatsApp or something.
Which school are you studying in, Mithun?
I'm Jubilee Hills Public School.
Okay, so with Jubilee Hills, you will have to share with Srilata ma'am. She was the one, ma'am, who was in touch with us.
Okay, sir.
Does that
Ridan,
answer your question, Mithun?
Ma'am, how do we send, ma'am? That's my doubt.
No,
you
send through
can
WhatsApp, no? Send it through
WhatsApp
WhatsApp.
or
You'll have your
email.
coordinator's number. Yeah.
Yeah, WhatsApp or email, anything is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answered my doubt.
Yeah.
Ridan?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a doubt with that. What kind of projects should we make in stage 2?
That depends on you. Whatever activity you want to submit for stage 2, you can.
Okay.
As long as you're exploring a scientific concept, whatever activity you want to submit, you can. Yeah. Anybody else has any questions?
Yeah, Vinyashri has raised. She's not able to turn on her video. I told her I can't make her spotlight. If the video is not on, I can't make her spotlight.
Okay.
Vinyashri, you can unmute and ask.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, so when is the stage 2 date? So you'll give the test. What's the date? Or stage 0, sorry.
Stage 0. Stage 0, it's not a day. So the moment you register, the stage 0 questionnaire will just be available on the, what do you say, portal that you'll be taken to. There's no particular date for it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm guessing we have no more.